Welcome to Take a Wander with Shebs. My guest at this point is adventurer certified tour guide Mari Jiménez. Mari, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on. How are you and where in the world are you currently?
Hi, chefs, and hi, everyone that is listening to us. I am currently in San Jose, Costa Rica, and I am so pleased to be here with you.
It's great to have you on, Mari. I've been looking forward to talking to you. The show is going to be very different to what my usual shows are, and I'll explain a bit after asking you to explain a little bit about yourself.
So, my name is Mari Jiménez, as you already said. I am an adventure designer. I design adventures for people to go into the jungle with me, but not just to explore outside, but also to explore inward. Because what we do is like our safest space is nature, and how is she guiding us for us to also discover some answers that we may be looking to.
Today is going to be about maybe our interconnectedness on how we are as human beings, and energies are really, really important. And I talk to a lot of friends about energy and why positive energy is really, really key to sometimes your success. Now, Mari, you have an amazing story. We've been talking prior to the show. Let's start from the beginning. Usually I ask about your early days and how you got to the career point where you are. We'll try and get to that maybe towards the end, but tell us a little bit about your early beginnings and how you journeyed through to marry the person who is right now sitting with us today.
So I grew up in a rural area here in Costa Rica, always connected with nature. Actually, my school was a forest, and I used to have sloths and snakes around, and beautiful animals, because Costa Rica, as everyone knows, is one of the most beautiful countries in the world. It took me a little longer to get to be working with nature, because I also went to college to study public administration. I really wanted to change the world, to change this country, and I really wanted to work in the government. But while I was studying, I was like, okay, no, this is not what I want. This is it's going to be too stressful being in an office for me as an outdoor person.
Why did you study into that? Was it just parents telling you, or was it something that you thought you were good at in school? How did you get to that point before you got to becoming a guide?
Yeah, I don't think my parents told me, but in a way, I chose a career. I don't know, on the way to there, I chose another career that it was similar to what my dad do. And also like, hey, I want you to be proud of me, and how many times we do things to make some other people feel proud of us instead of being proud of ourselves. And then I started listening to my body, because every time I was working on an office or doing, like an office job, I felt very disconnected from my soul, from my heart. And so I went back to the adventures. I always was very adventurous person since I am a kid, because my dad works in Osa Peninsula, that it's in the south, in Corcovado, close to Corcovado National Park. So I was always around nature. I decided to start my business as an adventure designer. Long story short, I saved a dog, and the story got to someone who got invited to work on a TV show for UK called Walking the Americas with Levison Wood. He was invited to that. He couldn't do it, and even though he didn't know me in person, he referred me, and I was selected. Thanks to the dog I saved.
Okay.
And so I went into the show. I designed the whole road, and after that, I got a certification to be a guide. After a whole year of studying, then some others experiences came into, like being on BBC with Simon Reeve. That was also a big achievement for me, and also a big opportunity for the world to know my job and the work that I was doing.
that obviously would have given you some satisfaction. But we were talking off air that you were inundated with so many people coming in your life after that. Now, how did that make you feel? Was it overwhelming?
Actually, it was pleasant, of course, in the beginning to be part of the show, to be working with him. He is not very well known in this part of the world, at least here in Costa Rica. But I knew that his mission with his shows was very good, was to show a reality to the rest of the world that for me was important to show. So I was very excited. I had so much fun during the filming. But afterwards, I think as a normal person, to experience so many people getting into your life at the same moment, it was for me so overwhelming. I actually like I felt like a turtle when gets into the shell. Like, okay, no, don't look at me. Like, I'm not that cool, I'm not that important, or I am not worthy of that much attention.
Why did you feel as though you weren't worth it? If people are contacting you, do you not think you deserve to get into that position? You actually decided to go into doing adventure.
The thought that visited me the most at that moment in my life was, I am not the best guide because I don't know the 300 plus scientific names of birds.
Right.
I mean, that was a thought, or I don't know all the names of all the plants here in the tropical rainforest.
You worried that if a client asked you that question, they'd be like, why does she not know that answer? That was your worry.
Yeah, or, and when you really like go and check that thought, it is almost impossible for someone to really learn the 300 plus scientific names of the birds and all the names of the plants here in Costa Rica. It's
a lot.
Something. It's a lot. I mean, we are talking that I live in a country that has 5% of the biodiversity of the world. And sometimes, how many times we have thoughts that are not real, that are unreal, that rule our lives. Because it is very interesting, because since I am a little kid, I said I want to be on a movie. I want to be on a TV show. I want to be a singer. Of course, I wanted to be seen. But at that moment, when that happened, it was like all my insecurities arise. And I was feeling so insecure, like, please go away. Don't text me that much. It's just too overwhelming for me.
Early 2020, the pandemic then hit. So everything sort of came to a halt. In some respects, it may have been a bit of a blessing in disguise because things slowed down. And did you feel as though at the time that you could just sort of re-energize and sort of be by yourself and contemplate what's gone on in your life?
So the show came on air on November 2019. So that happened, and I had this overwhelm, but also during that period of time as well, I got invited to be part of a film, a conservation film, where Jane Goodall was on the film. So one of my childhood superheroes was going to be in the same film that I was invited on.
Jane Goodall, that's who you're talking about, the British, she's a legend here in the UK, yes.
Yes, and I was like, for me, it was also a big deal. And it was not just the conservation film that is called Animal, by the way, by Cyril Dion, that it's a French director, but also that I had a yoga and adventure retreat and other adventures with very important clients, because for me, every client is very important. For me, it's like an intention I put in. Okay, you are trusting myself to go and guide an adventure into nature, and how I prepare with my intention, with my integrity, to be present for you, right? So I couldn't be more into the overwhelming and, you know, like feeling so bad about people looking at me, that I also had this much of work to do. So I focused on that. I worked. The yoga and adventure retreat was a transformation for me. And this is also good. For me, each experience that I guide, each experience that I lead is not that I'm there as an observant. I am there living the experience with them, you know, feeling everything, because I am a person who feels a lot. So like everything around me, I can sense the world. So each experience, it's an activation for me to know myself better. I also believe that when you meet people, it's an exchange of information, an exchange of knowledge, an exchange of memories, and also a chance to co-create beautiful moments, you know, because that's what we are here in this world, to live it in a very graceful manner.
When the pandemic hit, I want to go back to this because it's quite an important thing. So you were able to sort of think about what's gone on. It slowed down a little bit. What was your thought process when you had so much time to think? Did you think to yourself, did you feel worthy when you were thinking through what was going on?
Like for me, the pandemic, it was the best thing that happened to me personally, because I had the chance to stop, to slow down, to go inward. And also because I was being so full of work the months prior the pandemic, I had the chance to rest. And mostly what I did during the pandemic was being inside of my house, of course, but enjoying the process of it. And also going into nature and to retreat myself by myself. So I had a lot of time to be in silence and to think. And that's where I found myself. It's where I actually came up with an idea of what I do is simple and real adventures, because it's just a real life living in a simple manner, and we are just going and see what life has to show us, you know? So that's where I found myself. That's where I came home. And also with the opportunity that I got with the accident I had with the snake that bit me, and I died.
This is quite serious then. So you got bitten by a snake, you died. Obviously, you're here with us today. You revived. So tell us through that process, if you can. I know it can be quite traumatic for people to listen into, but for you, how did that happen?
For me, it wasn't traumatic or a bad thing. For me, it was actually, I see it as one of the best things that happened to me in my whole life. Because for me, everything is like that. Actually, in my life, everything that happens to me is the best thing that could happen. Is perfect just the way it is, because it's the things that is happening, right? I learned a lot about this experience. I personally love snakes with all my heart. It's one of my favorite animals. You know, their energy and how they live their lives. They need to shed their skin once in a while. And it's how, if we all humans learn about that ability, we can actually make the intention to shed once in a while our skins. So that's why I really love that animal. And it was an accident because I was handling the snake and I didn't take a few considerations about where the snake was in a pond, was at 11 at night, and it was in a pond, was about to eat, and I was just so excited to see the snake. I was with one of my best friends that he loves the snakes as well, so we knew the species. We knew that it wasn't that dangerous because I didn't know a few things, and I didn't handle the situation. Nowadays, when I'm gonna handle an animal, I really connect with its energy and ask permission for me to handle or for me to approach the animal, because they are sentient beings and they can actually communicate. No, I don't want you around. Please just leave me alone. And I wasn't responsible enough, and I wasn't honoring enough that other being. I was very just, oh yeah, I'm so excited and I want to hold it.
The energy wasn't right, which is why it maybe attacked you. That's what you're trying to say.
Exactly. And I didn't read the animal language because she was trying to get away. And I chased her a little bit and I grabbed her, and in that moment bit me. I told you before that I was training my nervous system for months already at that time, because sometimes our nervous system, of course, reacts to protect us. So sometimes you are just chilling and you feel something in your shoulder and then you react. So I was training my nervous system not to do that. So every time I feel something in my shoulder or anywhere in my body, I feel it and I stop myself. I breathe and I look what's going on. So when the snake bit me, I didn't react. I breathed. I was like, okay, this is happening. Okay, this is hurting so much. Okay, this feels like electricity running in my body. And I like, and I couldn't hold the pain anymore. And I asked my friend to take it away. And in that moment, at that time, I didn't feel half of my body. I couldn't move my arm this way, like to close the door of the car. We were 2 minutes away from our hotel, so we drove. We were like 2 hours away from a hospital, so a hospital wasn't an option at that moment. So we just drove to the hotel, and I entered my room. I washed my hand. I was trying to don't panic and breathe and try to be conscious. And then I started like feeling so dizzy and so bad, and I was going in through a shock. And then I started calling my friend, and when I had him in front, I fainted. And it was the best thing that happened, because sometimes people that fainted can hit their head into the floor or to other surfaces that may cause bigger damage. So my friend got me, and then he realized that my heart was stopped, and that I wasn't breathing. So he was going to start doing CPR when he dragged me into the room, into the bed. But then suddenly, a few seconds after, I came back.
We were talking again before I brought you on. This was like actually the best thing that ever happened to you, because even though people might think, what are you talking about? You just got bitten by a snake, could have just died. But this is actually the best thing that's ever happened to you, because it's actually changed your life.
Actually, it is very interesting, because my relationship with death, it's always been very harmonious. Like I don't mind dying.
Is that because it's meant to be?
Since I'm very young, I kind of knew that I was going to die very young. Okay. Because I always kept telling my parents, please don't be sad. I mean, death is not that bad. It's just another dimension. It's just like, please don't be sad. And the only thing that really attached to myself into this world was my parents. Like I didn't want them to feel that bad. So I often tell him, like, tell them to, hey, please don't be sad if something happened to me. I am very free spirit. And I always, like, when I was a kid, I always planned my life until the age of 28. Funny thing that happened at 28. And right now I'm 30, and I don't feel that right now I'm living a life that I don't have plans for.
So everything's spontaneous.
Yes. I have plans, but I never, when I was a kid, I never said, oh, when I'm 30, I want to be, or I want to have, or I want to nothing. Like I didn't expect anything from my childhood because all the plans that I did was until I was 28. Funny thing that happened at 28. And the reason I say is the best thing that happened to me, it's because it really allowed me to, after the snake bite, I can understand things that I didn't understand before. Or access. When I came back, I was crying. I let myself to feel everything that I was feeling. And that's a big thing that humans have. Sometimes we don't allow ourselves to feel. Okay, I'm feeling sad, but I shouldn't be sad. Or I'm feeling a little bit down, but I shouldn't be. I should be happy because I have all of this. Why should be? Why am I sad? So I allowed myself to feel, and I start understanding things. Okay, now I understand this. And it was like until recently I saw a video explaining that, the body, your soul and your spirit, even though are three separate things, are integrated in one being, right? When you die, you start disintegrating. The three parts of you start disintegrating, of course, in different speeds because of the density of the matter, right? Your body. So you start disintegrating, and you touch information outside of your magnetic field. And what happened is that, I touched the information, and then I came back to my body again. So that really changed my life, my perspective. I actually allowed myself to be more me, because in this society and with the ego, like you build yourself thinking that you are what you have, that you are your career, that you are your job, that you are the things that you own, that you are this body that you were given, but you are not any of that.
Tell us then what you've done since that moment. Tell us how your life has changed in terms of maybe your work, what you've done spiritually.
So what happened then is that I went into a period of a lot of silence in my life, like going inward, be very present. Like, since I felt that my soul went out of my body in a way, but then I realized that was all disintegrating. When I came back, I really felt I was living in my body. What happened next, 2 months later, after the snake bite, that my anniversary of being born again is tomorrow. July 22nd is my 3-year anniversary
of you getting bitten by a snake. Oh wow, I don't even know how that's happened actually in terms of us doing this recording, because I didn't plan that. So obviously it was meant to be.
It was meant to be. It's always meant to be. And there is never a coincidence in life, that I also understood that. So 2 months later, exactly on September 22nd, I started a mentorship of 4 months where I learned about the ego, the being, our inner being, duality, shadow, everything. So I learned that as a personal process, right? As a personal journey for me to understand life and to understand myself. And also that also started a process for me to clean all the things that weren't working in my life. All the family dynamics, all the dynamics in general, how I
like the negative force field. That's what you got rid of. The negative force field in your life just started disappearing slowly by slowly.
Exactly. So that happened, and 2 months and 15 days later, 15 days later of the mentorship, I went into a mountain where I retreat myself with some friends, and I listened to a voice saying, you need to bring here a tribe of women. And I don't believe it's an external voice. When I hear that voice, that particular voice, I believe that it's the voice of my inner wisdom, my inner voice, the voice of my soul. I heard that voice and I started the project, the Women's Tribe here in Costa Rica. And it was a big success since the beginning. Newspaper, television, like local television, all the people like asking me, what's this tribe? What's this tribe about? And at that moment, I didn't know.
How were they made aware of this tribe? Did you post it on your social media, or was it just word of mouth?
Word of mouth, and I did like a separate social media called Tribu de Mujeres, or Women's Tribe. And I started like announcing some experiences just for women to connect with nature and to connect with sisterhood. And that for me was very new, even for me, and I also believe that was the process of me getting back to who I am, like in my core. Because before I was trying to feel in, to fit in, and also to all these thoughts, like I'm not good enough, or I should know more, or I'm worthy only if I, And during 2021, where I actually worked with women, with the tribe, going in nature, getting activations, and also being aware of my medicine, because before my medicine was through my mind. I believe I have all this knowledge, and that's why I'm worthy of, right? But now I know that I'm worthy because of who I am, and because of the medicine I carry, and because of my mission that is now very clear, to hold a space for people to go into nature, to open their hearts. I make them feel on a tribe. I make them feel secure. I make them feel loved. Because, chefs, I love people. I really love, And it's not love as in a romantic way. It's just love how I love another being. How I love a tree, how I love a dog, how I love another animal, how I love another human being. And it's been a process for me to open my heart to that as well during all those activations with the tribe, because each experience, it's like an evolution. It's like I go into with the tribe as a one person, and I go out as another person. And that happened not just with the tribe, with the women's tribe, but also with each experience I lead for clients all around the world. I live the experience with them. I actually learned from nature, from myself, from them. They learn from me, and we are all a collective. There is no separation. We're all one. We're all learning about ourselves.
You've got into this position where it's the best position you could ever be. And even though you said prior you were inundated with people constantly contacting you, I'm sure you're now even more busy. People are contacting you constantly. Now you've even got an office. This is now becoming a big phenomenon. You are sitting here, a successful adventurer, but also I would say a businesswoman as well.
Yeah, it is very interesting. I am definitely getting to know myself now in this position. And also now that I recovered my voice, because when I was getting the certification to be a guide, I also experienced bullying with a professor. A professor bullied me during a year of studying to be a guide.
In terms of bullying, in what respects was this professor bullying you?
This old man that every time I talked in class, he was like, "Please shut up. Your voice is so horrible. Please, please, your voice is horrendous." And another, like, for example, during a field trip, we were on I'm never gonna forget that, but not from a victim perspective, from from a moment I will value forever, because taught me a lot, definitely, that experience with that person. That it's not that I was the victim of him. I generated that. And I told you before, everything that I live in this life, it's a projection of something I believe inside, or in some way I am attracting this person to show me for what reason I attract this person. But during that period of my life, in my personal life, my parents were getting divorced, was a lot of drama. I was involved in all the drama, and my body of pain was activated. And his body of pain was that dense. So what happened with you when you are vibrating into the same frequency, high or low, you attract high or low. And if I was going through that, drama with my parents, and a lot of suffering, a lot of pain, and a lot of that, I in tune with that person. And it showed me, reflect me things that, of course, I never thought before that my voice was horrible, but in a way, that experience also left me so vulnerable to speak my truth, to be confident, because before I was so confident. I was this young lady who was on TV before, and who had these big dreams to be nature designer and have their own company and all of that, and everything was working out so well. And then this experience came to shut me down.
How did you ride past that then? It must have been, did you confront this person?
I put like a complaint where I was studying that, actually they didn't resolve anything. The person is still in his position right now. It is not just one person. Could be anyone else.
Did you think that person was doing it because you were also a female? I've been to Costa Rica, but I don't know the ins and outs of what the infrastructure is like within education or whatnot. What's it like with women? Was it anything to do with the fact that you were a woman?
Yeah, but because previously he also treated that way also women from other classes, because then I found out. So it's a thing with women. Anyways, I overcome that. Of course, took me years actually.
Well, this is really interesting, because this is probably where your self-doubt, worthy of what you were receiving, something like that can really scar you. And as you just said there, for years, it took you years to overcome. But
until now.
Well, until now, and you're talking about it now, which is actually a brave thing to do, because a lot of people don't talk about it.
Chefs, I took it as a great opportunity to learn, and I brought this topic to sessions with my mentor, with other therapists, with different professionals in the wellness industry. Like, I've been working a lot inside of me to be the person who I am right now again. Because on Saturday of like a couple of days ago, like 4 days ago, I lead an experience that was called in Spanish, volver a voz. That is like, go back, return to your voice. And that was part of my process as well. I finally feel that I recover the voice that was taken away from me.
Wow, it's taken this long to get to this position. So just imagine what you could have actually achieved. Maybe something like this happens for a reason.
That was part of my process to rebuild myself. Because, even with the tribe, the first adventure with the tribe, I was so shy. I couldn't stand. I wasn't in a leading position. And I remember one of the sisters that joined the tribe in that moment was like, "Hey, you're the leader. Speak. Like, what do we do?" It's like, I don't know. It's just like, it was like, even for me, the tribe was a process to get to know myself again. and to step into the role of leadership and being and feel secure, feel in expansion, embody my role as a leader again feels amazing, and sometimes you may feel or you may think this shouldn't happen or why this happened to me. But when you approach a situation from that why, please, I don't understand, that I am the victim of this person who is treating me this way, you don't take responsibility for yourself. You keep being the victim forever. What is the gift of this situation? What is the medicine of this person? I see it that way every time. And I told you before the recording that last year I was at my house by myself and someone broke into, and I was by myself. Of course, I was scared. The interesting part is that all of those events show me things about myself. I knew that something was wrong in my house before I saw the person. And then a few months later, and that brought me, during that period of time when that happened, I was going through a crisis of burnout. And I was feeling like I was going to the surface again. And then that happened and that shut me down again. And 4 months of a depression, I will call, because the thought that visited me the most the last 4 months of last year was, it's so hard to live, I'd rather die. I really, and put me in that thought, when you are not aware of your thoughts, and when you believe your thoughts, you start bringing situations into your life that it's not that you're going to kill yourself. It's not that you're going to hurt yourself. But if you have that thought and if you believe it, and it is the only thing that you listen in your mind, because for days I was like, I just want to die. I'm ready. Please take me,
Okay.
And one day I was walking and I thought, I really want someone to just drive over me.
So this is really, really strong stuff. Again, people listening might be a little bit upset. Again, obviously there are situations where you can maybe talk to people about it, but people listening might be shocked. Your clients who you may have worked with previously might be shocked listen to this story. This isn't what I was expecting to talk about, but for you to be in this position now where you are happy to talk about it, that takes guts. People probably who listen to this story now probably want to travel with you and do more adventures.
It is interesting because, as I told you, everything is part of the journey, right? Life itself is an adventure with highs and lows. And the reason I talk about this, and I talked with people around me at that period of time, I am very open with myself. I'm very transparent. Even with my clients at the end of December, when I was to start feeling much better after all the help and after all the things I've been doing to feel good at that period of my life, during the adventures, I said, well, the past 4 months, the past 3 months, that was the thought that visited me the most, but I make the separation because I am the observant of my mind. I am the observant of my thoughts. I am the observant of my story that it's running in my brain, in my mind. I don't let my thought get over me. I don't. This is who I am, the observant. I don't allow the thought to jump on me, saying I want to die. So I studied to be an inner voice facilitator, thinking about my clients, thinking about the experiences, thinking about how can I be the best person to hold a space for people to really express themselves. And that's why I believe it's all part of my process to learn, to integrate, everything that I learned. Of course, I don't feel that I need to learn in such a harsh way anymore. Like I can also decide that. I can also decide and know that I can tap into joy, that I can tap into, grace, and that I don't need to learn through suffering, because that it's also a belief that sometimes people think you only learn through suffering. That's not true. All the process for me to get back to my voice, to feel good, to feel secure, to not feel the nervous or the anxiety to speak about what I love, what I do, what I have to to share with people. Because all I do, chefs, in my adventures, in my normal life, as an inner voice facilitator, as a facilitator for the tribe, the women's tribe, and as a facilitator for the experiences with Duruimity Adventures that I call, that is a consciousness travel tribe, because it's all I talk about. Of course, we are going to nature, we learn about the trees and the monkeys, and we jump into beautiful waterfalls, but we learn about that, about mindfulness, about the ego, about the shadows, about our thoughts. We share. I think one of my superpowers is my power of vulnerability that I have. You know, I'm living this because I can share this with people, and they can also see themselves in me, because there is no separation. There is no such thing that you and me. It's all the same thing. And it's through the suffering that we learn that we don't need to learn through suffering anymore. But we need to go through the suffering to learn that.
When you said you heard the inner voice to do a tribe for women, maybe it was to pay back, or perhaps what you went through with your professor, maybe, I don't know, to empower women in this tribe. But
yeah, actually the tribe is all about empowerment, all about connection with Mother Nature, that it's Mother Nature, or nature itself, is not, again, not separated. When you are connected with nature, you connect with your own nature. You connect with your core, you know, with who you are. My purpose also with experiences is how people come here to Costa Rica to learn whatever they are open to learn, and how they can translate that into their normal lives. When I receive messages or, you know, voice notes from clients, there's, look, Mari, we're having an adventure here in Ireland. Hey, Mari, we're having an adventure here with our kids, you know, and that's very fulfilling, because before they weren't doing that. And now they are living an adventure, because life is an adventure itself. It's not just a vacation. This is another topic, but I also went into a pregnancy that being decided to be born into light again. And that also was an activation for me.
Just make it quite clear. So did you say you went into pregnancy, as in, were you pregnant?
Mm-hmm. I was.
Oh, you were pregnant. So
yeah.
What happened? Are you not having the baby, or what's happening?
No, that being that is sovereign being, because, you know, it's a being that decided to come through me, decided also to be born into light again. Sometimes people think, or people will say, I lost the baby, but I didn't lose anything, you know, just very gracefully looking at it going away.
Can I ask you, was this recently that you said you didn't lose the baby, but people listening in will say you lost the baby? I'm really sorry to hear this, and it sounds like you're doing okay.
Actually, it was a beautiful process, everything. You know, I see it, as I told you, I believe it's not from a toxic positivity perspective or mindset, right? I found out that I was pregnant. We were very happy, and just one day I was just bleeding a lot, but I didn't, you know, experiencing that that I was losing the baby, you know. Because the doctor said everything was perfect. That day I went to have lunch with my best friend. I gave him the news. I gave him a gift. Yeah, you're gonna be an uncle, haha, right? And then I said, okay, leave me in this cafeteria. I'm gonna work a little bit, but I'm feeling not so good. I'm going to go on ground into the park. So I climbed a tree, and I remember I was bleeding a lot, and I felt so weak. I felt disintegrating, and of course, I was an alive being experiencing death again. The pregnancy also put me in other level. Mm-hmm. When you are a mother, your heart is so, so open. And I believe I'm a mother forever. Like I became a mother at that moment, and I'm still a mother. You know, I carry a heart of a mother, you know, like very open and very loving. So it was an activation for me. At least I see it at that perspective. And I am planning to keep sharing this story with the tribe and with women that can really benefit from this story, because sometimes it's like, oh, I lost. No, you know, of I honor if you see it as and the pain and the suffering that you experience with the lost, right? But personally, I don't feel I lost anything. I gain a lot with this experience.
You've put a really positive spin on it, and with it being so recently, again, I'm so sorry to hear this. And one day you do give birth to a child, and I just want to quickly ask you a little bit about whether you've actually traveled away from Costa Rica, or is it always you've always been in Costa Rica and not really traveled as much as you may have wanted to have?
I lived in the States for a year when I was 21, and I traveled outside of Costa Rica. I went to Peru, the States mostly. I went to UK with I went to the premiere of the Walking the Americas show with Levison. Yeah, and I've been traveling, but mostly as personal vacations. Actually, I am planning to. I may be going to Portugal as a keynote speaker. One friend of mine will say that's happening already in other dimensions.
Yes, yes, yes. Happening already, yes, of course.
Happening already. But yeah, I may be doing some adventures. I really want to connect with with my soul tribe in the UK, because I feel it's where I've been most exposed, and I believe it's also that probably my medicine is needed there. You know, I see it that way, you know, like my medicine is needed to that part of the world.
You've obviously done something within Costa Rica, but you could obviously branch out as you just said, your medicine, so you can go to the UK. And I know you said earlier you don't mind dying early, but I hope you don't anyway. You're here.
I'm really, I'm really happy with my life now.
Yeah, you're happy, so hopefully you're here for a long time, and then you could be like Jane Goodall, or telling us a story 60 years from now, and you're telling your grandkids or something about this story. So, but no, these journeys are really, really important. So that's why I asked you, have you traveled much? So if you haven't, maybe this is the opportunity for you to branch out to other areas of the world. And Costa Rica will always be your home. Of course it will be your home. You can come back whenever you want, but the world is such a big place that I can't see you just being in Costa Rica, because if you're already getting opportunities for television and whatnot, Hollywood might come to you and say, right, we want you to do this. So you never know. Anything's possible, right?
I'm open. I'm definitely open. And now that I return to my voice, that I know the medicine that I carry and the value that I can give to the world just by being, just by being, and just by shared love. I also believe that it's not just Costa Rica, like you can live an adventure in a garden. Like that's my expertise. Like I work with what I have. Like we are going to have an adventure in a backyard if I only have a backyard, and that's something that people actually can do,
Maria, I'm gonna finish this off and sort of let you go. We've been here for a while, so just before I go, just tell everyone how they can find you or get in contact with you.
Yeah, I think through the Instagram it would be a good first step. Duruimity Adventures. I'm going to build a new website because the website that I have now presents who I was. Still, I have that sense, but yeah, you can also contact me through my website as well. But yeah, mostly with my Instagram, and I will guide you from there. If you want an adventure, I will send you a link that you fill all the information, and all the experiences are very personalized. So that's very important. So people give me all the information, and I actually sit down in a computer or sit down in a river and think, okay, where is this person, like from their needs, where should I take them? And it's not Mari Jiménez. It's also with the help of Mother Nature. So I let myself be guided a lot. Last one is that everything that you think you will become your reality. Everything that you think you will become your reality. And that's one of the things I teach in my experiences. So yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, Mari, no, thank you so much for telling us your story, and thank you for being so open. Hopefully people listening in have gotten that, and so thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it, and definitely want to go back to Costa Rica. I can go on one of these adventures as well.
So open to that.
Thank you so much. Just a final reminder on where to get in touch with Mari if you're looking for an adventure in Costa Rica, or talk to her about the topics we discussed and have been affected by it. All the details are on your screen now. That's it for Take a Wander with Shebs. Hope to see you all soon. Until next time, bye for now.